Hello everyone, this is James from Ad River Homestead, and just wanted to let you know about our next project. Margie and I are excited to announce that we are adding dairy goats to our homestead. And we had been talking about it a little bit, talking about you have the potential to, of course, have the milk, make cheese, yogurt, things of that nature. And turns out the administrator for a Facebook group that I joined, Southwest Ohio Homesteaders, I would highly recommend that you join it, by the way. Turns out that she and her husband have goats. And so we went out, checked out their layout, and decided to go ahead and do it. Well, I was sold once I tried the milk. I was absolutely blown away by how delicious it was. So we are ready to do it. So I'm going to show you what the area that we're going to be building, and then I'll have a few segments as I complete parts of it. So enjoy. Hopefully it's helpful, and if nothing else, you just get to experience what it's like to build a goat pen, goat shelter, etc. Thank you. An idea of where we're going to be laying this out at. So there's the backyard. See the house, the garden, and everything. And in our woods, on this side and on that side, I have a path that goes back. So we're going to put this pen right between the path. I already went and picked up a gate for it today. I will fix that up so it's not those big openings. Goats tend to get their horns stuck in those. So anyway, it's going to go from right about here. It'll go straight across right here. It's going to go all along this path. Back there, just before that tree, it's going to come over to the path over there and then come back along the path. So it's going to be a pretty big area. You can see the post hole diggers. That's going to be the front right corner of the shelter. So it'll be from here over here, 6 feet. It'll be 6 feet square, basically. And one half of it will be closed off so they can have shelter whenever it's raining, snowing, whatever it is. We got this huge pile of rocks back there, so I just moved a few of them, and these things are gigantic. So I'm gonna make a little rock pile that they can climb around on, and I'm sure there's some other things I'll add. But just wanted you to see the area before I get it all done, and that's that for now. Thank you. Okay, so I've pretty much finished the framing for the goat shed, and you kind of see what it looks like so far. So what's going to happen here, let me step back a little bit. There'll be metal siding all the way around except for the front, of course. Got to have an opening somewhere, right? But there will be metal siding on this part here. So the one thing I didn't kind of think ahead on was how to get the siding attached to here once I did the frame. So I think I'm gonna go get some 2x3s. That's really all I'll need, and just put one on each one of those where there's that gap. And then I'm just gonna use furring strips for the roof. I won't need to use the 2x3s like I did the chicken coop or chicken run, because it's pretty small, so it won't have to stand a big heavy load. So yeah, looking good so far. Okay, the goat shed is complete. Got the metal on all the way around. Had to patch in a couple extra pieces that I had for the roof, but that's okay. It's a goat shed after all, and it's fully functional. I thought about covering this with metal, this part here, but the more I thought about it, I've got a pretty good overhang here, so there's, rain should not get in there. If I'm finding that it does, then I'll go ahead and cover it. But I thought maybe it'd be better to leave it open until we know for sure for ventilation. So got that half covered. This is the doorway, and then I put up a little windbreak, weather break right there. So when they come in, they'll have all this room to, get away from the weather. So So if I find that they're getting too much weather in there still, I'll go ahead and put another piece up here. But I think for now, I'm just gonna leave it like that. So I'm pretty happy with it. Just put it together in a couple of days, so I'll take that. Been working on this rock pile for them, so just give them something to climb on. And then the pin is going to go all the way back to that tree and over. So probably somewhere in here, I'll put something else they can climb on. So we're getting there. We'll have goats before too long. Okay, you saw the shed in the previous segment. I've got my spot for my gate up, and had these timbers. Found them from a guy on Facebook Marketplace. He removes and replaces guardrails on the sides of highways, and these are all the timbers that he gets, and they're absolutely heavy as could be, but I got them for $2 a piece. I got a whole pile of about 20 of them, and it was well worth it. I've used them on several different projects, but I think it's going to make a pretty neat looking entrance. So kind of the layout, I'm going to be using trees a lot. I'm going to start the fence right here, go to this tree, that tree, and then from there go way down to a tree and at the far end there, and then back around. I'll show you when it's all done. But this fencing, I've been told, is the best fencing to use. It's actually called sheep and goat fence. I got this at Rural King, and it's, you know, it's a little bit more expensive than other fencing, but it flexes, so when the goats are standing on it, it'll come back into place, and it won't end up breaking like the welded wire. That's what everybody that I've watched, they've said that it'll eventually break when they put their front hooves up on it when you walk up to the fence. And with this, it just kind of flexes and comes back. So that's what I'm going to be using. This is 330 feet of fence, and it is heavy, so it's going to be a little bit of a project. I made a stretcher, a fence stretcher, just a couple of 2x4s that I'll put on either side of the fence, bolt them together, and then I'm going to try pulling it with my lawnmower. So if I can get my wife to come out here, I'll have her do a little shot of that. Anyway, I'll catch you on the next segment. So I got braces. I don't know, I think I showed that in the last video. Maybe not. Anyway, I braced both of these so they'll be, you know, they'll be braced against the tension of the fence. And I started on the fence, got this, got it secured there and here, and got a pretty nice line down there. I'll have to put the poles on and everything, but it's pretty good, pretty tight. Just to show you what I did, because this is a long piece, I'm not showing the whole setting up because it's kind of painful to watch me do it. It's kind of a matter of trial and error, getting the straps the right length and everything. But this is my stretcher, so it's just the 2x4s, and I've got 4 lag bolts through them to hold it nice and secure. Wrapped a strap, have it come out the top and at the bottom, so it kind of pulls it evenly. And then I went and got a come along. I was trying to do it with my lawnmower, just not enough power to pull it tight enough, and also a low center of gravity on it. I don't know if that's the right term, but anyway, it wasn't pulling in the middle, it was pulling more at the bottom. So I had this strap. I had pulled down a big tree branch that had broken. So I had this strap. It's like 40,000 pounds. That one's 20,000. I went ahead and got the 8-ton come along, or no, the 4-ton. The 2-ton was $60. The 4-ton, twice as strong, was just $20 more. So it made sense to me to go ahead and get it. Never know when I might have a really big, heavy duty job I need it for. But just kept cranking it, and it pulled that fence nice and tight. So now I'll get it secured to that tree and get the posts on when I come back from my little business trip. Well, I finished the hay feeder, and I think it turned out pretty good. I took this kind of an idea that the administrator of my Facebook group, Karen, had sent a picture of one that looks pretty similar to this. A couple of little differences. For one thing, I put a roof on it, and where we are, there's a pretty good canopy, so usually don't have a driving rain, but if it rains, it'll drip down on that. So I wanted a little roof, so I made a roof. And under here, it's got a handle. Just lift that up. Got a couple chains on there just to keep it from flopping all the way back. And this is where we'll put the hay in here. And my understanding is you can also just throw their feed down in the tray, and they'll eat the feed from there, so you don't have to have a separate feeder. So pretty happy with the way it turned out. It's nice and heavy duty. Big Chungus, you have to keep the girls out of here. What are y'all thinking? You got great egg boxes. So here's what happened. I made the shed look a little bit too appealing for them. I went ahead and threw some straw down in it. We're not getting the goats for a couple more days, but just trying to get things ready for them. And I'd seen some of them coming in here, and you know, they'd be in here and then they were coming out and everything. So I thought, well, I better go see what they're up to. So this is what they were up to. They decided they were going to lay eggs in here. That ain't going to work. We got one hen that's broody, and so that's one box taken up, and when it gets too crowded, they cackle at each other. So some of them decided to come in here and lay their eggs. We'll stop that as soon as I get the gate up. Okay, I have finished the goat pen, so I'll give you a quick little walk around. So I am going to put a different latch on here. This is just, my grandma always had those kind, and I thought it'd be nostalgic, but it's just more trouble than it's worth, especially putting it on from the other side. Anyway, I showed the goat feeder in the last video. I don't think I've shown this little improvement. I had this thing just screwed in. I was just gonna duck under if I ever needed to go in, and I did it one time and I said, nope. I turned 60 this past Sunday, and I am not gonna do it that way. So just put a hinge on it, and it turned out pretty good. So that'll be the waterer right there. And you can see the rocks. I made a nice little pile of those big rocks for them. They can climb around on that. But you can see it goes all the way back there. And it goes back to that tree. And then across here, up to there and back. So pretty large area. But I'm pretty happy with this. This is their little play area. They got a couple of platforms they can hop around on and go from one to the other. They could hop up onto that one, I'm sure. Or they might take this route, go up that and across, hoping they'll use it all, but I can't control that. Anyway, I'll make another video with the introduction of the goats. We're getting them in a couple of days. So I'll make a short video of that when we introduce them to their pen. So thank you. I hope this was helpful for somebody, and maybe if nothing else, just gave you some ideas if you're looking to raise goats. And of course, if you have any questions, comments, I'd love to read them. Thank you. Take care. God bless.